Have you ever noticed how certain patterns, certain ways people interact can sort of creep into your relationships, like these invisible threads, and they slowly tighten, making things feel, I don't know, less alive, less free?
Absolutely. It happens so gradually, sometimes you barely notice it.
Well, today we're gonna pull back the curtain on three of those, three really insidious patterns.
Yeah, behaviors that subtly, almost silently, just chip away at trust.
Exactly. They diminish connection, and honestly, they can really stifle your personal growth.
And this isn't just about spotting them in other people, though that's useful too.
Right. Protecting yourself.
For sure. But the deeper... potential here, I think, is recognizing these patterns within yourself.
Okay, that's interesting. Self-awareness.
Yeah, and it's not about judging yourself.
Yeah.
Not at all. It's more like opening a door, a door to real lasting change.
Because these aren't just like personality quirks.
No, definitely not. These behaviors cause real cumulative damage, like tiny cracks in a foundation that grow over time, often invisible fissures.
Wow, okay.
So understanding them, really seeing where they come from and what they do, that's the crucial first step. It's how you start to heal, build stronger connections, and honestly, reclaim your own power.
Okay, so what are these three specific behaviors? Let's name them.
Right. We're going to tackle first constant criticism, then playing the victim,
Okay.
and finally the need to, try and control everything.
Constant criticism, playing the victim, trying to control everything. Got it. You've probably encountered these, right? Even if you didn't have a name for them.
Almost certainly.
So we're going to dive deep. We'll look at the surprising insights, maybe the hidden roots, the psychology behind them.
And offer some practical tools,
Yeah.
for navigating these dynamics.
Whether you're facing them in others or maybe recognizing echoes in yourself. So let's get started. Let's unmask these shadows. Okay, first shadow then. Constant criticism. So what are we talking about here, really?
Well, at its core, criticism, the kind we mean, is this destructive judgment. It's not about feedback. It's an assessment of someone's character, their whole identity, really.
And it can be disguised, right? Like it sounds helpful.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Often disguised as helpful feedback.
Yeah.
But to really get the impact, maybe picture this scenario.
Okay.
Imagine a little kid, say 6 years old. They've spent all afternoon just lost in creating a drawing.
What?
Yeah,
totally focused, happy.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a house with a wild purple sky, a big smiling sun. They've poured their little heart into it. Every crayon mark is pure imagination.
And they feel great about it. Proud.
Immensely proud. So they rush over to an adult, maybe a parent, beaming, holding up this masterpiece. Their face is just glowing, right? They want connection, validation, just to be seen.
Yeah, that moment of connection.
But instead, the adult just glances at it, maybe sighs, and says something like, oh, well, the colors are all wrong here.
Ooh.
Or, look how messy these lines are. You could have done better if you just tried harder.
Or even worse.
Even worse, yeah. You're just not very artistic, are you? Direct hit to their identity.
Wow. That image. Yeah, that really lands. It cuts right to the heart of it.
It does, doesn't it? Because it shows how insidious this is, how it builds up. It's not just one comment about one drawing.
Right. It's the pattern.
It's the pattern. Imagine hearing things like that repeatedly. You're always so clumsy. Why can't you ever remember anything? You just never organized enough.
The kid doesn't just feel bad about dropping the glass or forgetting the thing.
No, they internalize it.
Yeah.
They start to believe it's who they are. And that kid, maybe they just stop drawing altogether.
Not because they lost interest.
Not at all. It's
Yeah.
because the joy, the motivation, that spark of creation, it's been slowly, steadily extinguished by the criticism.
It didn't just critique the art, it crushed the artist.
Precisely. Crushed their spirit, their basic sense of being capable. And what's scary is this exact dynamic, it plays out all the time in adult relationships. Maybe more complexly, but the effect is the same. A deep loss of self.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And it really highlights this crucial difference, doesn't it? The difference between, like, helpful feedback and this destructive criticism we're talking about?
Oh, absolutely critical. We tend to use the words interchangeably, but their impact, worlds apart.
So how do we tell the difference?
Okay, so true feedback's the kind that actually helps you grow. It's specific, it's actionable. And crucially, the intention behind it is to build you up, not tear you down.
It focuses on a specific action, right? Not the whole person.
Exactly. It might sound like, hey, when you did X, it made me feel Y. Maybe next time could we try Z? It's about improving something specific. Often starts with I feel.
But criticism, the toxic kind.
It's a global assault. It goes for the jugular. It attacks your character, your basic worth. It doesn't target a behavior you can change. It targets you.
Saying you are the problem.
Yes, you are not good enough. And like you said, it often hides. It pretends to be helpful advice, maybe wrapped in concern or tough love.
I'm just being honest.
Right. But its real goal is to point out some perceived flaw in you, the person, implying you're fundamentally broken somehow.
You mentioned Dr. John Gottman earlier, the relationship expert.
Yes, his work is foundational here. He makes this super clear. He talks about the difference between a complaint and criticism.
Okay.
A complaint focuses on a specific issue. I'm upset you didn't do the dishes tonight. That's addressable.
Right, action-focused.
But criticism attacks the person's character. You're such a lazy slub for not doing the dishes. See the difference? That global attack, that's the destructive criticism we're focused on.
And the psychological hit from that isn't just like temporary hurt feelings. It goes deeper.
Much deeper. Gottman's research, which is incredibly extensive on what makes relationships work or fail, identified criticism as one of his 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Wow, 4 horsemen. That sounds serious.
It is. These are 4 behaviors that are shockingly accurate predictors of divorce or relationship breakdown. Criticism is a big one. It's not just a symptom of trouble. It often causes the breakdown.
Why is it so damaging? What makes it a horseman?
Because it's not just a harsh word about one thing, which, can happen in healthy conflict sometimes. Constant criticism feels like a direct attack on your core self, your value as a person.
It makes you feel defective.
Exactly. Defective, judged, not understood. Instead of saying, hey, that specific action hurt me, it frames you as the problem. You're broken. You're flawed.
Like saying, you're always so inconsiderate. That's not about one incident.
No, it's an attack on their very nature.
Okay.
And this constant chipping away at someone's character, it leaves them feeling worthless, misunderstood, deeply insecure.
There's a neurological aspect too, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. Our brains are basically wired to detect threats. And constant criticism, especially from someone important to us, a partner, a parent, a boss, it registers as a social threat.
So it triggers that fight or flight response.
It does. Over time, this chronic stress leads to predictable reactions.
Yeah.
Defensiveness, shutting down, withdrawing completely.
Or even fighting back with more criticism.
It's exactly counter-criticism,
Yeah.
which just creates this vicious, toxic cycle. It erodes trust, kills intimacy, and eventually leads to contempt.
Which Gottman says is the worst horseman.
Consider the most corrosive, yes. The kiss of death for a relationship, often.
And once you start looking for this pattern, you really do see it everywhere.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like maybe you have a partner who seems to find fault with everything you do every day, the way you load the dishwasher, how you talk, what you wear, what you eat, just constant little jabs.
Or a boss.
Yeah.
Who never acknowledges your effort, never says good job, but is laser focused on finding the one tiny mistake in your report.
Yeah, overlooks all the hard work. Or maybe it's a friend who always finds something wrong with your choices. Your haircut, your job, who you're dating.
Often disguised as just being honest or trying to help you out.
Right, and the reactions you see in people getting this all the time, they're really tough to watch.
They are. And so predictable, sadly. People shut down, they just withdraw, become guarded.
Build up walls.
Build up huge emotional walls to protect whatever self-esteem they have left. They get super defensive about everything.
But maybe the biggest impact is that loss of confidence.
I think so. A profound loss of confidence and self-belief. That critical voice, they internalize it. It becomes their own inner critic.
Like that child who stops drawing.
Exactly like that child. They stop trying new things, stop taking risks, stop putting themselves out there. They might even stop being their authentic selves because they're afraid any genuine expression will just invite more criticism.
Leading to this diminished, kind of fearful way of living.
It's incredibly limiting.
Okay, so if criticism is this destroyer, slamming doors, building walls,
Yeah.
what's the antidote? You said there's something powerful.
Yes. And it sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly potent. Curiosity.
Curiosity, how does that work?
Well, think about it. Criticism launches an attack. It assumes negative intent or character flaws. It shuts down dialogue.
Right, it's a judgment.
Curiosity, on the other hand, opens a dialogue. It doesn't assume, it asks. It shifts the focus from blaming someone to understanding their perspective.
From judgment to genuine inquiry.
Exactly. It brings back this sense of, okay, let's figure this out together with mutual respect. It acknowledges you don't know the whole story.
So let's take that common example again. Instead of you never listen, which is that global attack.
Right, total judgment.
You shift. You try curiosity. What would that sound like?
You might say something like, I'm feeling unheard right now. Start with your own experience that takes vulnerability.
Okay, I feel unheard.
And then the crucial part, the invitation. Can you help me understand what's going on for you? Or can we talk about how we can connect better on this?
See the difference. The first way is an accusation. This way is an opening.
It's an opening. Tell me more about your perspective. That's an olive branch. It's a path forward that wants to connect and understand, not just win or prove the other person wrong.
It definitely takes more courage, though, to be vulnerable like that.
It absolutely does. But the payoff connection instead of alienation is huge. Curiosity doesn't assume someone's being intentionally difficult or flawed. It asks questions.
Instead of, why are you always late? Which is pure criticism.
You might try, hey, I've noticed you've been running late a bit lately. Is everything okay? Anything I can do?
Totally different feel. It shifts from blaming their character, you're irresponsible, to observing a behavior and inviting collaboration. What's going on? How can we figure this out?
Exactly. Curiosity opens those doors that criticism slams shut. It allows for empathy, for real understanding, for finding solutions together. It builds psychological safety, which is just essential for any healthy relationship. It turns a fight into a potential moment of connection.
Okay, let's move on to the second shadow, playing the victim. Now, this needs a big clarification right up front, doesn't it?
Absolutely crucial. We're not talking about people who are genuinely experiencing hardship, trauma, or injustice. Life throws terrible things at people. That's real victimization.
Right. Everyone faces pain, unfairness, real setbacks. That's just life.
Exactly. What we mean by playing the victim is something different. It's when someone takes those difficult experiences, sure, but weaves them into this unending story where they are always the loser.
Always on the receiving end of bad luck.
Always. And crucially, everyone else, or maybe just life itself, is always perpetually to blame for their problems, leaving them feeling completely powerless.
That's the key bit, isn't it? The perceived total lack of power or agency.
That's the absolute core of it. It's not just acknowledging suffering. It's adopting this rigid worldview where you fundamentally believe you have no influence, no ability to change your situation or even your reaction to it.
And the language they use becomes pretty noticeable, right?
Oh, yeah. Once you tune into it, it's quite distinct. You hear a lot of, well, nothing ever works out for me no matter what I do.
Or people always let me down. I just attract toxic people.
Or the classic, why does this always happen to me? Life is just against me. It's this constant narrative of external forces conspiring against them.
Keeping them stuck in helplessness.
Perpetually stuck, with no path out, at least not one they can see or are willing to take.
And what's tricky is when someone talks like this, initially, people often feel sympathy, right?
Totally. It's a natural human response. Someone seems to be suffering constantly, claiming victimhood. Our instinct is often to comfort, to help, maybe try to rescue them.
Offer solutions.
Exactly. But that initial sympathy, it often doesn't last. It starts to feel like a real drain on the relationship.
Yeah, that initial desire to help kind of dries up, turns into frustration maybe.
For sure. And there's a very understandable reason for that. Honestly, nobody wants to be in a relationship, friendship or otherwise, where one person constantly sees themselves as powerless and sort of refuses to engage with any possibility of change.
It's exhausting.
It is utterly exhausting, emotionally draining. You offer support, You suggest solutions, you try to empower them, and they consistently bat it away or find reasons why nothing will work for them.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but. Exactly. It feels like pouring water into a leaky bucket. Your efforts feel pointless, and eventually, for your own sanity, you often have to step back a bit.
the relationship gets really unbalanced.
Profoundly. One person always needing rescue, the other always trying to rescue. It breeds resentment, guilt, fatigue.
Hmm.
It's just not sustainable.
There's a psychological concept that really fits here, isn't there? Learned helplessness.
Yes, exactly. Martin Seligman's work on learned helplessness is spot on. His famous experiments, originally with dogs.
Right, the inescapable shocks.
Yeah. They showed that after repeated exposure to something painful they couldn't escape, the animals just gave up trying. Even later, when escape was possible, they didn't even try. They'd learned that effort was futile.
They were conditioned to be helpless.
Precisely. And the mechanism is this deeply ingrained belief that your actions don't matter, that effort is pointless. If everything you've tried in the past led to failure or punishment or more pain, your brain essentially learns to conserve energy by surrendering agency.
It's not even a conscious choice to give up.
Often not. It's a powerful psychological response. You internalize this belief that the outcome will be negative no matter what you do so.
Yeah.
Or bother. And that perception becomes your reality.
It connects to that idea of locus of control, right?
Absolutely. People playing the victim tend to have a strong external locus of control. They believe outside forces, fate, luck, other people dictate everything. They don't see the power of their internal locus, their own choices, efforts, attitudes.
And you see this playing out in everyday life all the time.
Constantly. Sometimes in really subtle ways.
Like, think about a coworker who's always complaining about being stuck in their job, blaming the company, the boss, the system.
Right. But you notice they never actually take a course to learn a new skill.
Never volunteer for a challenging project, never ask for feedback or mentorship, just complain.
Exactly. Or the friend who goes on and on about their terrible luck in relationships, always attracting the wrong people, always getting betrayed.
But then you watch them and they seem to ignore obvious red flags, make the same choices in partners over and over.
And then act surprised when it ends badly. Again, in the same way. Why does this always happen to me?
Yeah, it really shows the cycle.
It's a perfect illustration of how cyclical it is. It's less about the actual external situation, though, that can be genuinely hard, of course, and more about the internal narrative.
The victim story itself stops them from seeing or acting on chances for change.
Yes. They end up reinforcing their own helplessness through inaction, or choices that confirm their belief system. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They stay stuck because the victim identity keeps them stuck.
We should probably clarify, too, feeling sorry for yourself sometimes isn't the same as playing the victim, right?
Oh, good point. No. Self-pity is a normal, temporary human feeling. We all feel it sometimes. Playing the victim is different. It's like an identity you adopt, one that actively resists solutions and clings to the narrative of powerlessness.
Okay, but here's the really tough part, the hidden cost of adopting that identity. It's not just tiring for others or limiting for you.
No, the deepest cost, the thing you lose most profoundly, it's your own freedom.
Your personal freedom. Wow.
It is. It's like an invisible cage, but one you've often helped build. Because as long as you truly believe you are powerless, as long as you buy into the idea that external forces run your whole life,
You're giving away your power.
you are actively giving away the incredible power you actually do possess. The power to choose your response, the power to take the next step, the power to shape your future, even when things are incredibly difficult.
It's not about blaming people for bad things that happen.
Not at all, especially if they're truly victims of circumstance. It's about recognizing the undeniable power that always resides in your response. You can't always control what happens to you, but you absolutely can control what you do next.
That's where freedom lies.
That is exactly where true freedom resides. And sometimes people cling to victimhood because there are sort of unconscious benefits, attention, sympathy, maybe avoiding responsibility for hard choices. These secondary gains can make it really hard to break the pattern.
Okay, so if victimhood erodes responsibility and steals freedom, what's the antidote here?
The antidote is incredibly empowering. It's responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
And again, we need to be clear, this doesn't mean taking the blame for everything bad that happens.
Absolutely not. It's not about saying everything is my fault.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the power you have over your next step, over your attitude, your choices, your actions, even when external stuff is genuinely tough and out of your control.
It's about agency.
It is fundamentally about agency.
Yeah.
It's switching from that disempowering question, why me, Why is this happening to me? To the empowering question. Okay, this is the situation. What can I do now? What choices do I have, even if they're small?
Even in the worst situations, there's always a choice about your response.
Always. A choice about your attitude, about the meaning you make, about the very next small action you can take. And making that shift, that's pivotal. It's how you reclaim your power.
It changes the story.
Completely.
Yeah.
It transforms your life story from being this fixed tragedy you just endure into an ongoing journey. One where you face challenges, sure, but you're actively growing, building resilience, making choices.
You become the protagonist again, not just a passive character.
Exactly. The active protagonist, capable of making meaningful choices that shape your future no matter what cards you were dealt. It means owning your emotions, your choices, your actions, focusing on what you can control, letting go of what you can't. That's responsibility in this context.
All right, let's tackle our third shadow. And this one feels well, maybe sneakier sometimes, trying to control everything.
It's incredibly common and so damaging to relationships, to peace of mind.
So paint a picture. What does this look like?
Okay, picture someone who just seems fundamentally unable to relax. Like they can't find any inner calm unless every little detail around them is managed just so, exactly how they think it should be.
It goes beyond just being organized or liking things neat.
Oh, way beyond. It's this deep-seated, often really anxious need for absolute command over the environment, over situations, and yeah, often over the people in their lives too.
You definitely see this play out.
Everywhere. Once you know what to look for. Maybe it's the person dictating exactly how their partner should drive, giving constant directions from the passenger seat.
Backseat driver, yeah.
Or the coworker who has to tell you precisely how to word an email, down to the punctuation, even though you know perfectly well how to write an email.
Micromanaging.
Total micromanaging. Or you might see it in parenting, the parent who directs every aspect of their child's play. How to build the tower, how to arrange the dolls, what story they should act out. No room for the child's own imagination or lead.
It's this constant need to orchestrate everything.
Pervasive need to manage it all, yeah, from the tiny things to the big things.
And what's tricky here is sometimes this looks good from the outside.
Right. You can be mistaken for something positive. People, maybe even the controller themselves, might see it as just having really high standards.
Or being super disciplined, really on top of things.
Wow, they've got it all together.
Yeah.
Or they just care about quality. They want things done right.
But that's the surface. What's underneath?
Almost always, if you peel back that polished surface, you find fear. Deep, often overwhelming fear.
Fear of what?
Fear of uncertainty, fundamentally. An inability to cope with the unknown, the unpredictable, the messy parts of life. A terror of chaos.
And maybe fear of being vulnerable.
Critically important, yes. A deep fear of vulnerability. Fear of letting things just happen without their direct control, because that would mean being exposed to potential hurt or disappointment or feeling like a failure. Control feels like a shield.
A protective mechanism.
Exactly. A rigid shield against anything that might go wrong or make them feel helpless or out of their depth.
And there's research backing this up, right? That controllers often felt powerless in the past.
Yes, strong links there. Often, people who excessively control come from backgrounds where they experienced significant instability, maybe trauma, insecurity, unpredictable parenting, environments where they felt profoundly powerless.
So control became a way to cope, a survival strategy.
It often became a crucial, maybe unconscious, survival mechanism, a way to try and create the safety and predictability that was missing back then.
It gets ingrained as a pattern.
Deeply ingrained. It feels like protection against past hurts or future threats. If you felt totally out of control during a really difficult time, then trying to control every variable now feels like the only way to prevent that terrifying feeling from ever coming back.
It's a coping strategy, but a costly one.
Hugely costly. Because while it might feel safe, it actually stifles growth, their own and others. It's built on anxiety and fear, not on real strength or trust or adaptability.
You see links to things like attachment styles here too, don't you?
Definitely. It could be closely linked to anxious attachment, where someone tries to control others or situations to manage their own deep fears about abandonment or unpredictability. It can also look like a fight response to threat, actively fighting off chaos by controlling it.
And the price. It's incredibly high. Not just for the controller's own peace, but for everyone around them.
Devastating for relationships. It suffocates any real connection that needs freedom and mutual respect to breathe.
Kills creativity.
Absolutely cues creativity in others.
Yeah.
Leaves no space for their ideas, their way of doing things, their unique spark.
And it twists love, doesn't it? Turns it into something else.
It warps love into just obedience. It strips away the spontaneity, the joy, the freedom that makes love thrive. It becomes about compliance, not connection.
Can you give some more everyday examples of this cost?
Sure. Think about that micromanaging boss again. They don't just dictate tasks, they stifle any innovative ideas from the team. Morale plummets, good people leave, and often the results are actually worse because they've shut down critical thinking.
Right. Or the parent making every single decision for their child.
Yeah, maybe with good intentions, wanting the best, but they choose the classes, the friends, the activities, never letting the child develop their own judgment, autonomy, problem-solving skills. They end up creating an extension of themselves, not a capable individual.
Creates dependence.
Huge dependence. Or think about a partner who needs to track the other person's every move, who they call, where they go, who their friends are. They mistake that surveillance for care, but it just demolishes trust.
Destroys intimacy. Kills the relationship.
Absolutely. No foundation left for a healthy partnership.
And for the person being controlled all the time, what happens to them? It seems like there are two main paths, neither good.
That's generally true. They either rebel, push back hard against the control, which often leads to huge conflicts and maybe even more control attempts, or they gradually just lose themselves. They become compliant, quiet. They lose their voice, forget their own desires, their own opinions. They become an echo of the controller's will just to keep the peace.
Neither path leads to real connection or well-being.
Not at all. Both are dead ends for genuine relationship building and individual growth.
Okay, so if this intense need to control comes from that deep fear of uncertainty, fear of vulnerability, what's the antidote? How do you unlock that grip?
The antidote is, well, it's simple to say, but often incredibly hard to practice, especially if control is deeply ingrained. It's trust.
Trust. In what? Or whom?
Several layers, really. It's about consciously choosing to trust other people. Trust them to be capable, to make their own choices, even to make mistakes and learn from them. That's huge.
Okay, what else?
It's about trusting the process of life itself, accepting that you simply cannot predict or manage or perfect everything, learning to be okay with some uncertainty.
And maybe trusting yourself.
Yes. Most importantly, trusting that you'll be okay even if things don't go exactly according to your plan. Trusting that the world won't actually fall apart if you loosen your grip a little.
It sounds like a leap of faith.
It is a courageous leap of faith into the unknown. It's believing, maybe for the first time, in your own resilience and the resilience of others and life itself. It involves cultivating what some call radical acceptance, accepting what you can't control.
Is there a question someone could ask themselves if they recognize this pattern in themselves?
A really powerful reflective question is this. What is the absolute worst thing that will realistically happen if I choose not to control this specific situation or this person's action?
Sit with that honestly.
Yes, really examine it. And often, the liberating realization is that the actual worst-case scenario, it's usually far less catastrophic than the fear predicts. The monster in your head is way bigger than the actual issue.
That insight helps challenge the fear.
It does, because it exposes the often irrational nature of the fear driving the control.
Yeah.
And when you do choose to let go, even a little bit, the benefits are massive and twofold.
Okay, what are they?
Firstly, externally, you empower others. You give them space to grow, to find their own way, to show you what they're capable of. That strengthens relationships like nothing else. Makes them more real, more resilient.
And the second benefit? For the person letting go.
Internally, for the person who's been holding on so tight, it grants you this incredible gift. Breathing room, actual peace. It's freedom from the exhausting, relentless burden of trying to manage everything. You can finally just be present, find some calm.
Okay, so let's pull these three shadows together now. We've looked at constant criticism.
And how it just systematically dismantles self-worth. leaves people feeling fundamentally not good enough,
Right. Then playing the victim.
which meticulously eats away at personal responsibility, trapping people in action, stealing their agency and freedom,
And just now trying to control everything.
which relentlessly destroys freedom too, others' freedom, and the controller's own peace, suffocating connection and growth.
So criticism hits self-worth, victimhood hits responsibility, control hits freedom. Is there a common thread linking them all?
There absolutely is a crucial unifying connection. When you look closely, all three of these toxic behaviors, they fundamentally spring from one powerful core emotion:
Which is?
fear. Fear is the silent architect building these patterns. It shapes how we react, how we see the world, how we treat ourselves and others when we're caught in these cycles.
Okay, break that down. How does fear drive each one?
Well, constant criticism often comes from a deep, maybe hidden, fear of not being good enough ourselves. It's our own insecurity projected onto others.
Attacking them before they can expose our flaws.
Something like that, yeah. Then playing the victim. That stems from a profound fear of being powerless, a terror of being hurt again, of being at the mercy of forces we can't handle.
And the need to control.
That's driven by an overwhelming fear of losing control. Fear of uncertainty, fear of vulnerability, fear of chaos, fear that things will fall apart if we don't manage every single detail. Different flavors, but all rooted in fear.
Fear is the common denominator.
It is.
Yeah.
But, and this is the really important part, the hopeful part,
Okay.
if fear is the architect of these toxic patterns, then courage is the builder of healthy ones.
Courage is the antidote to fear.
Exactly. It takes tremendous courage to face these fears and choose a different path, to step away from these ingrained reactions. But the rewards, huge. Real growth, stronger relationships, genuine inner peace.
And courage here isn't necessarily not feeling fear, right?
No, not at all. It's feeling the fear, acknowledging it, and choosing to act differently anyway. Choosing to act from a place of values, not just from fear.
And that courage looks like embracing the antidotes we talked about.
Precisely. Turning these ideas into real, conscious choices. It means bravely choosing curiosity instead of criticism, even when you feel judgmental.
Choosing responsibility, taking that next small step instead of staying stuck in victimhood, even when things feel overwhelming.
Yes. And consciously choosing trust in others, in life, in yourself, instead of giving in to the urge to control, even when you feel anxious.
They're actual practices.
They are absolutely practical, actionable choices you can make every single day, moment by moment sometimes. Each time you manage to choose curiosity over judgment, or responsibility over blame, or trust over control.
You're doing something powerful.
You're healing yourself, you're reshaping your relationships, and you're creating an environment both inside you and around you, where real connection, real growth, and real freedom can actually happen. It's a profound act of conscious living, reclaiming your power to shape your experience.
So as we start to wrap up this deep dive, I just want to encourage you gently to really sit with this, spend some quiet time, maybe later tonight, maybe sometime this week, and just reflect. Which of these behaviors, these shadows, maybe resonated the most with you? Is it something you see in how you act sometimes? Or maybe it's more about how you feel on the receiving end from others?
Just noticing, without judgment.
Exactly. Just noticing, recognizing the pattern with an open mind that really is the first and maybe the most powerful step towards any kind of change.
And while you're reflecting, maybe hold on to this quote from Stephen Covey. He said, "You are not a product of your circumstances, but a product of your decisions." It really ties into everything we've discussed, doesn't it? The decision to see these patterns, to address them, to choose a different response, whether it's changing your own habits or how you navigate them in others.
That's a hugely impactful decision.
One of the most liberating decisions you can make, I think. It's choosing agency over just reacting, choosing growth over staying stuck, choosing freedom over being driven by fear.
It really is. This is all about empowering yourself, isn't it? To build a life, build relationships that truly line up with what matters most to you.
Yeah.
So if this conversation spoke to you today, if something clicked or sparked a new thought, maybe consider sharing it with someone. You never know when a single new perspective might be exactly what someone needs to see a pattern differently.
To start breaking free from a cycle.
Exactly. To find their voice or just begin building healthier, more authentic connections. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Keep exploring these ideas, keep growing, and keep building a life filled with genuine connection and hopefully a lot more freedom.